thank you so much for joining us today. With us today, we have Margaret Messick. She's the founder and owner of Custom Inventory Resources. And Margaret has 28 years of experience working as a database designer and instructor, and she loves to sew. So she decided in 2010 that she would put these talents together, and that's when Custom Inventory Resources was born. Uh, Margaret loves to help people put the databases together and work with them. And today she is here with custom inventory solutions for your theater. Margaret?
Thanks, Darlene. Thanks for having me here. I'm pleased to give this little webinar. And as Winston said, please certainly list your questions on the appropriate boxes or chats that you have, and we'll try and get to them as best we can. But now I would like to start my presentation, and I will be starting right here. So if you can't see this, please let me know, but you should be seeing a PowerPoint slide that says, "Let us help you inventory your theater." All right, so today we're going to take a look at how an inventory system can really help you and your theater. First thing it does is it allows you to itemize what you have, the number of costume pieces, props, and other items with descriptions, photos, costs to make them, costs to replace them, and a lot of other details that will help you, understand what you have in your collection. It also allows you to create an efficient rental system so that you can check out items to individuals of your theater family or to rent to another organization, a school or another theater or a church organization. And you can rent things out, have them go out and be used, but then we also really like to have them come back. And we want to make sure we know what comes back. And so we have a great way to track what's been rented, what's been checked in, what's still out there. It also allows you to create asset management reports for insurance and administrative purposes. And a lot of costume shop managers may not have that as their highest priority, but the theater managers do. They want to know what you've got and how many and how much it costs, and if the roof falls in a storm, what's the damage going to be, and that sort of thing. It also allows you to share your data and photos with designers or others who cannot visit the shop. We'll talk a little bit more about this later, but the theater inventory database and all the other applications we have are Microsoft Access database solutions. So they stay on your PC or on a local area network. They generally do not go out to the web, but there are ways we can export data from your database and share it with other people. We also have our tags and labels that we print for our customers that allow them to put tags in each item, so each one has a unique identifier. And it's especially important if you rent things out. A tag can have your theater name, a logo, phone number, that kind of information, plus the sequential number and the barcode. All right, so we're just going to take a quick look at the main menu for the theater inventory database. On the left side, you have what we call modules. So we have a module for costume pieces, one for performance management, one for props and sets, patterns, wigs, jewelry, scripts, shop tools, and you can even identify an inventory owner if you possibly have two collections in your warehouse. For all those modules, you can work with productions, you can do checkouts, you can assign performers to particular items, you can print a lot of reports, a lot of asset management reports, and utilities and other things. So just as a reminder, all our inventory databases are written in Microsoft Access, which only runs in Windows. You can install it on a Mac if you've created a Windows partition for the Mac operating system. So if you have any questions about that, please call or visit the website. There's resource guides on that as well. But that's one thing I want to make sure everybody's pretty clear on right now. All our software is available for a free 30-day trial, and so you can download it at any time and give it a try. So when you look at a module, just as a real quick thing, they all are very similar. They have the same basic structure. We have a data entry form like we would for costume pieces. We have a search function, so you can search on a variety of fields and criteria. We have reports and we have utilities. And then often we have special options, like for costumes, it would be to send them costumes out to the dry cleaner and keep track of that. So your data entry form for your item, whether it's costume pieces or props or wigs, whatever, they all have the same basic format again. You have a unique tag ID, you have some descriptive fields, you have some lookups for like costume type and color and that sort of thing. You have photos. Most modules have 2 photos. Some of them have up to 6. And then at the bottom of the screen, you have a selection of tabs which can give you more information about that piece. So you can track measurements, you can track repairs, you can list the productions it's been used in, you can look at the rental history. So on one screen, you get a lot of information about the individual object and how it's been used and its history. Reports. Oops. I think I missed a slide. Just a minute here. Nope. Okay. There are reports. There's many available reports for each module. So on the report screen, you have a lot of choices. And all reports can be printed to a printer or to a PDF file. So you can, post a report of things on your website. You can email it to someone who wants information. There's a lot of choices. Now this is what happened. Okay, each module works with your features. So you have productions, checkouts, performers, reports, asset management, and a utility menu. So costume pieces can be assigned to a production. Props and sets can be assigned to a production. So you can look at your production screen and see all the things that work together with it. Checkouts and rentals, you can check out your costume pieces, your props, your wigs, your jewelry, and that sort of thing. So if we look at a production here, you can see that we have a production for the Music Man. We can list our roles. We can, if you look over here on the right-hand side, we can assign performers and an ensemble. An ensemble is when you link multiple costume pieces together, like a pair of pants and a vest and a shirt and a hat and a tie. All that can be linked together as an ensemble, which can be assigned to a role in a production. And you can list all of those roles and their related ensembles and pieces together. You can also assign props to a production so that you have a list of all the props that are there. And then for that production, there's a whole lot of reports you can print as well. So you can print a report for the Music Man, list all the roles, list all the costume pieces that a person is going to wear in that role in that production, and a lot more. And you can do a rental. Now there's several steps to doing a rental. It looks like there's a lot here, but it really is pretty straightforward. So the first thing you're going to do when you do a rental is you're going to create a record for the person, like could be a member of your theater family or another organization. So you're going to create a record for them. And then you're going to go to your checkout screen here. You're going to select that organization or person. You're going to set or enter a return due date. And then you're going to select your costume pieces or ensembles or wigs or jewelry or props, anything that you are going to be checking out to that person. You would just come to the select ID field here and either enter the number or scan the tag or select it off the list. Print all the things that you've got. And then once you've got everything listed, you can print out an invoice or contract, whatever you want to call it. You can change the title of that. And it will list each individual item, their replacement cost, the rental fee, the replacement cost, if there's a dry cleaning fee, All that will be listed and totaled, and so that the balance due is very clear up in that upper right-hand corner. Again, this can be printed and you can have the customer sign the invoice, or you can PDF it and then just email it to them as well. When the organization brings everything back, it's usually never quite as neat and orderly as when you sent it out. So sometimes you get this huge pile of clothing or props, and you can do a quick check-in. So you can just scan each item as it comes in and do a check, 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 check. It'll just scan each item and mark them as checked in. And then you can run a variety of reports to see, well, what's still checked out, what's overdue, check out by the due date, check out, what's due by due date, and so forth. Lots of different things. Okay, I just saw we have a question. It says this may be answered later. I just don't want to forget. How easy is it to remove costumes if you rent costumes from elsewhere for production? This seems like it would be helpful to keep track of what we have rented and who has it when it's time for us to return them. Yes, that's a good question. What a lot of people do is they, if it's something they rent for maybe a few weeks or a month, something that's going to be in your theater for a while, they will go ahead and create a costume piece record in the costume piece form, and they will give it a sequential number that's completely out of their normal range, like 999001 or something like that. And they will indicate very easily that this has been borrowed from a particular other organization. And it's very easy to run a report of that, see what you have borrowed, and how to return it. Okay. Another question comes in about tags, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So I'm going to just wait on that one if you don't mind, and we'll go on. Okay, you can also keep track of performers and organizations. For your performer record, you're going to have their name, an ID if they're a school and you want to have a school ID or something like that, their gender, what type of performer are they? A performer? Are they staff? Are they a volunteer? Of contact information, home phones, cell phones, and email. A mailing address, obviously you don't need that very often, but it's there. If you work with a lot of students or you have family members that you want to list as other contacts, if you have young children in your theater, you want to know how to contact their parents, you can enter that as well. You also have information on allergies, tattoos, piercings, if you have to work around that for your costuming needs. And you can enter their measurements and then show their height, their weight, their basic measurements, so that you have a good idea where to start with. We all know performers change size. If you work with kids, you measure them one day and then 2 months later they're, an inch and a half taller, or something like that. So you can always come back and update this for the current size. You can also look and see what roles and productions a performer has been in, what they've checked out, what they for costumes, wigs, jewelry, and so forth. So a lot of details on your performer. Your asset management reports, again, something that is great for management, but it basically totals up everything that you have in your collection that you have entered in the database. So you can count the number of items you have, the sum of the original cost, the sum of the replacement costs, and you can print a variety of reports. You can print this summary report. You can print individual reports like costume pieces by costume type, how many blouses you have, how many coats do you have, and that sort of thing. When I presented this information to an insurance company once, just to talk to them about, is this kind of the information you would want if a theater had a disaster, they were blown away by it. They said, nobody ever knows this kind of thing. If we had this kind of information, we would certainly be paying much more closer, paying an amount that is closer to your listed replacement costs than we normally would. A lot of insurance companies look at a theater costume warehouse and think of it as basically a thrift store, and they give you very few dollars per item. But if you have very stated data information about the cost that was to make it, the cost to replace it, and how many real items you have, they're much more interested in talking to you. Okay, now sharing your data with others is a really complicated thing. There's a couple of ways to do that. Like I said, the database that, excuse me, the theater database is a Microsoft Access database, which runs on a PC or on a local area network. It is not very conducive to work on a web page. It just, the way it's written, it just isn't. But I've stuck with Microsoft Access because it's very inexpensive for theaters and schools to use. It has a lot of features that I, as a programmer, like, so that I can give you a very robust database. It's very easy to update and very easy to work with. Now, that's all very nice, but everybody wants to share this data with somebody, with other costumers, designers, other people who are thinking of renting their collection and so forth. So how do we do that? How do we go from a PC to the web? Well, there's a couple ways. One is you can create a catalog very easily through the database, through the search menu or through the reports menu, where you can print a selection of costume records, and you can sort of see it if it's on the right side here. I'm not sure if you can see it with your things, but you can have a catalog report, which is exported to a PDF, and visitors to your website can download it. They can look at it and see, okay, here's what this item looks like. Here are the basic measurements. Here is its, rental fee and that sort of thing. Now, the problem with these catalogs is they can become very long. If you have 10,000 items in your catalog or in your database, that catalog is a large and unwieldy sort of document to work with. So you can make smaller catalogs. Let's say you want to do all costumes for a particular production, like Oklahoma or Mary Poppins. You can create a catalog, again, publish that PDF to your website, and people can download just that item. Now, if you've got 50 different productions and you've got that data entered, that's an amazing feat, but you also have a lot of things to work with. So work with your web designer to see how you can list each catalog and have it be available to people. The other item is something I've just been working on, is to download, export the data to an Excel file. Now, you've always been able to do that, but you haven't had the pictures. Excel is not terribly picture friendly, but I have come up with a way to export your data and link the photo or import the photo to the Excel file so that you can hover over a tag ID and have the picture show up. Now, I'll show you at the end of the presentation, links to my website where you can download this particular sample data and work with it and see how it is. Now, you are, if you did this, exporting your data to an Excel file and placing it on your web page, you are exposing all of your data to the world. So you want to think about that. And again, I have a handout that talks about some issues you want to think about before having your data published. Okay. We also have a database for lighting, equipment, sound equipment, tools, stage properties, and consoles. Again, very similar in the plan in terms of modules on the left of the main menu, features on the right. You can go in and create records for fixtures, accessories, gobos, and gels in the lighting module, and sound equipment. You would create records for all your different pieces of sound equipment and cables. Okay. Now, here we are about tags. We print thousands and thousands of tags, close to 300,000 tags per year for our customers in at least 15 different countries. So our tags are very, very easy to read. They're very durable, and they're very soft for the ones that go in your costumes. They're very sticky for ones that go onto your equipment or props. Now, I have lots of options available. We have iron-on tags, tiny iron-on tags. It's sort of hidden back there in that tie. Sew-in tags of 2 different sizes, 3 different sizes really. And we have some tiny sew-in tags that work for wigs and hair pieces. We have adhesive labels that can go into purses and hats. We have some super sticky industrial labels that go into shoes. And then you can also put labels on a manila or a Tyvek tag and attach it to individual pieces. For our props and sets, we have several different sizes of adhesive labels and different levels of stickiness. Some of them are good for painted things. Some of them are good for not so easy to work with things. We also have sew-in tags that work to be stapled into the bottom of furniture or sewn or ironed on to soft goods like curtains, bedspreads, pillows, that sort of thing. And we have a large sew-in tag, which can be attached with rivets or sewn to a rug or other large upholstery piece. All of our tags are custom printed. You can see this particular example here on the left. It has your theater name. It can have a phone number. It can have a bar for size. It has a sequential number. It has the barcode. We love to send free samples. I send them out every week. So please just contact us and I'll be happy to send them to you right away. So I think that answered the question on the tags. The material of the tags, the sew-in and iron one are a nylon polyester. The adhesive labels are varying materials depending on their function, but they're a very adhesive, durable label. So like I said, we have iron-on tags and we have sew-in tags and we have adhesive labels. Okay. All right, so another item that people always are curious about is how about support? What do we do if we get this database? What do we do if we need help? Well, you call. Here's our phone number, a toll-free number, which you can call anytime, Monday through Friday. The only thing is that I'm on, hold on a second. I'm on the West Coast. So if you're on the East Coast, you have to realize that I don't get up quite as early as you do. But I'm available 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, Pacific time. You can also send me an email and you can also set up a call. We can do a Zoom call, or we can also use TeamViewer to do remote support for your computer. We have a support page on our website, which will bring up all the options for our resource guides, link to the online user guide and tutorials. We have a lot of different help for that. But generally, people's first choice is to call or to email when they have a question, and so we can get it answered right away. We also sell barcode scanners, a little petite press, which is used for the iron-on tags, rack dividers, the ultimate ditty bag, and we have a costume data entry guide, which is free. It's a free PDF. You can download at any time and print it out and use it for, especially for students and volunteers who may not have the knowledge about how to identify a costume. How do I identify this dress? Is it just a dress? Or is it an A-line dress? Is it a shirtwaist dress? And that sort of thing. So it has some guidelines in there to help you get better data entered for your items. Okay, I have another question here. Excuse me. What about the tag being seen while used on stage? For a small prop, can they be removable during use? Let me go back. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Okay. For items that might be seen from stage, that's always an issue. For clothing, it's only an issue if things get taken off while they're on stage, like a coat or a jacket, even a tie sometimes. And so for things that could easily be removed and that little white tag with a barcode on there, you don't want that seen, and they can be seen from a pretty good distance away. So you can work to hide those items either inside a pocket, like in the inner pocket of a jacket. Sometimes they are covered up with another piece of fabric during for that particular production, and that little piece of fabric is taken off. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. The very tiny iron-on tags that are about 1 inch by 1/4 of an inch, those you really can't see because they're really tiny, and so they can even be put in a shoulder or somewhere else in the item and not be seen.
Hi, this is Margaret.
So sorry.
And uniform inventory resources.
Hang on.
I'm sorry I missed your call.
For props and sets, we have Tyvek labels here, which can be applied to an item. You'll often see a picture on my webpage of a teapot, which has a Tyvek tag and a label attached to that. Then you can remove that tag during the performance and then reunite it as well. If you would just hang on a little bit, I can show you how we work with that with our props and sets. I have a handout on the web page. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay. All right, so this is the last page here. I wanted to say, don't forget the web page is at costumeinventory.com. We have a virtual booth page there, which allows you to sort of pretend you're at my booth at a conference and look at a lot of the sort of frequently asked questions. All our databases are available for free 30-day trial. You can download them and they install very easily. We love to send samples of our tags and labels. And for attending this webinar, you can use this code AACT 2021 for a discount on your order. And here's my phone number and my email. Now, what I'd like to do is do a new share here real quickly to, here's a copy of the theater inventory database. So here you have your modules on the left and you have your features on the right. So if I go to costume pieces, I can go to the costume piece menu, and here you can see that you have a picture of you're looking at the data entry form for the costume piece. And so we have our tag ID, we have our name, and we have drop downs here for what type it is. If I have a category that I'm going to use it in, I could have a design style. I can do colors, color patterns, fabric, and that sort of thing. This is not upholstery. Somehow I got confused on that one. All right, so it's a cotton blend. And all that. Now, using your barcode scanner, let's see if I can do this. The way the search works and the barcode scanner works, now Winston, I may need a little help here. If I do a stop share for just a second. Okay, I don't know if you can see me or not, but here's a coat, okay? A coat here, and there's a tag right here. So what I'm going to do is go back to my theater database. I'm going to use my barcode reader to scan this tag and have it find that item. So now I need to come back here, and I'm going to put my cursor up here at search by tag ID, and I'm going to take my barcode scanner and scan that number, and it brings up that record right away. So I can use that same idea for doing my checkouts. I can go and create a checkout record and check something out, and then also do a quick check-in to check it back in. So by pointing my cursor at where I intend to do it, I can use the barcode scanner to quickly scan a number in and do the function that I need it to do. Okay, I see we're about out of time. Here's another question from Richard. Let me see here. Did I miss one? Okay, so let me do Richard's first here. So we do a comprehensive inventory and then send a list to you, and then you print out labels and tags and send them to us. Well, that's a possibility, but that actually doubles your work. What we usually do is we talk about what number you want to start at. So for usually we start at 0001. Let me, like back here, this tag number you see over in the upper left is 00001. Okay, and then I send you a roll of tags that start at 001, then 2, then 3, and so forth. And so while you are inventorying the database, inventorying the costumes, you apply the label at the same time. I'm happy to give you show you where the handout is on the website that talks about how to get a costume inventory day going that's really efficient, so that you can take a picture, apply the tag, enter the data in the database, and then move on to the next one. I can show you that as well. The second question is, do theaters send new updates quarterly to you so as they add new items to their inventory to get new tags? Theaters send me requests for new tags as they need them. So yes, I keep track of all the tags and labels that I've printed, and I've printed over 2 million of them since I started. And so if ABC Theater calls me up, I go right to their record and say the last ones we printed was this number, so the next one in sequence is the next number, and we just go from there. I have many customers that have had 6 or 7 orders over the last few years of new tags that they need to keep their collection going. So, all right, are there any other questions? I don't want to extend too long beyond my time because I know everyone has things to do.
I think there's one more question, Margaret.
Oh, there it just popped up. Okay. We are reorganizing our costumes and props. My hope is to have a way to designate where an item is, i.e. 1890s dresses are located in the green section. So the item number would be G009. Can we list something like this in the software? And I see another one popped up as well. Let me answer this first one. Okay, right here, if you look at if you're still seeing the screen, it says storage location. You can list a lot of different storage locations, and within that storage location, you have a detail list. So it could be box 1, 2, 3, rack 4, 5, 6, whatever. And then you actually have a third note here to show that you can type in a special note. So a lot of times if you've got a rack by time period, so 1890s dresses, you would create a storage location here for that particular location name, and then you can have details of the rack or box or bin or whatever it is. Putting a number like G0009 is okay, but it's not something that really works for the long term. People tend to reorganize and they don't want to call that the green section anymore. They want to call it, the 19th century section or something like that. So I generally recommend that people just use sequential numbers starting with 1 and move on, because every time you look at this, you can always find out where it's located. And up here you have time period right here, so you can list the time periods for that item as well. And another question comes in on tags can be printed on a regular printer. The answer is no. The tag material I have, let's see if I can do this. If I can show this here. Okay, so these tags that I have here, the iron-on tags and the sew-in tags and all that, they're a very specific nylon polyester, which can only be, that is printed with a special ribbon. It has to have this specific ribbon that is designed for printing on a thermal transfer printer. So printing them on a regular printer doesn't work. You have to have this thermal transfer printer. It's kind of like those little clamshell printers you see at the grocery store that kicks out your receipt. It's like that, but a much bigger version with a different type of ribbon system and that kind of thing. But I have 5 different printers because I have 5 different, I have actually more than 5 different types of tags and labels that all require different ribbons and different special things with that. So I have a handout that says that I can send you, that you can download from the FAQ page about what you would need to print your own labels. It's a pretty significant financial investment. I've had a couple people do it over time, but it requires that you spend money and a lot of time to get that done. So people find it easier just to reorder from me, or there's other label printers, as tag and label printers out there as well. But hopefully that answers that. Have I answered everything? There's one question that's still open, but I think I answered that. So let me just share my screen really quickly at my website. And this is my website, Costume and Uniform Inventory Resources. It has lots of different buttons up here as a home page here. With my cartoon that we love. If you can't find it, she can't wear it on stage. I have databases listed here. You can go in and look at individual databases and look at the screens more carefully. You also have the link right here to download free trial. And you can certainly go there and do that. Tags and labels, again, more information on those and so forth. And then our support options here are listed here, and you can go and see all the different options we have. Okay, one more question. Cost of the software. The cost of the software is listed on our price list here. And you can certainly go there to the webpage and download this. And there's lots of different options. So you can buy a package that has lots of things in it, or you can buy the software only. The package has tags and labels and barcode scanners and that sort of thing. We have the equipment database and all those prices. We have uniform database here as well. And the price of the tags are here. And as you can see, lots of different sizes and options. And when you buy different quantities, you get different discounts as well. And then more information here. So you can certainly come to the web page, look for the price list, and you can print this out. And certainly call me if you have any questions, but don't forget you get a discount for attending the webinar.
Okay, Margaret, we certainly thank you for sharing this information with us today. And we certainly appreciate everybody who joined in and for your questions. We hope that if you are an ACT member, we thank you for supporting us. And if you're not, please go to the website, aact.org, and check out all the benefits for becoming a member of ACT. We're also doing our virtual ACT Fest this June, and we'd love for you to join us for that. So thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.